Today's appliances suck. I am just really fed up with dealing with appliances. I Ever since COVID, the stuff they're producing is absolute garbage. I'm not getting 2 years out of these new appliances. I thought I solved it when I went with more of the American brands where at least I could get parts when they failed, right? But even that's not working. So what am I going to do? I mean, what do landlords do at this point? If you spend, all this money, you put in new appliances to make the place nice, to try to get good renters and treat them right, and then you get 2 years out of it. You're spending $200 a month on appliances, and then it's garbage. So I'm basing that off of, let's just say an appliance package is going to be $4,500, just a mid-grade stainless, electric range, decent bottom freezer, fridge, and microwave, dishwasher, and nothing fancy, right? Just mid-range. And then washer and dryer set. You're about four to $5,000 in there. So if you're only getting 2 years out of that stuff, you're damn near $200 a month on these appliances. So what do I do? Do I bill the renters for that? I've got to build it into the rents. I can't lose that kind of money. Do you separate it out and then let the renters decide what kind of appliances they want? If they want a super high end, maybe they could pay $400 a month. If they want the super fancy stuff, or maybe they want to just go with some basic used ones and save money on the rent. Give them the option, because if I got to throw them out every 2 years, what the hell's the point? So what happened today? I got a call again, and so I've got a refrigerator. It's a GE model, right? It hasn't been in just a little over a year. And so I call the appliance out there because I can't troubleshoot it. It's got a leak coming into the fridge. So then I call the appliance repair, and the GE sends out this contractor to go out there. It's $125 trip charge. They go out there and they find this little fitting that was in the factory that was leaking. It wasn't put together right. I would have never found it. It was way back behind. They had to take a bunch of stuff out to get at it. So it was factory installed wrong. And so it just created a little puddle of water in there all the time. And then they try to sell the upcharge on replacing the water filter. And they wanted like $40 for this water filter for the little drinking fountain and the ice maker on the door. And then I'm like, God, that sounds expensive. He goes, yeah, you can go to Amazon and buy them for $13 online. He goes, but those won't work. And I go, what do you mean they won't work? He goes, because they're RFID chips. You need the GE model to have, the RFID chip. Otherwise, the fridge won't allow water to flow through there. So now GE has blocked it, so you can't use another brand filter on these model of fridges. And it's like, you a-holes. I mean, absolutely. Why would I ever buy another GE appliance? I mean, this is just stupid. So I'm certainly never going to get a water maker in a fridge if it's all proprietary and you got to buy their stuff. And then he's got to go do a software upgrade. He's upgrading software on an appliance. It's like, no wonder these things don't last 2 years. The computer tells them to shut down. I don't know what they're putting into this. I mean, do these corporate boardrooms at these appliance manufacturers think a way of screwing over their customers? I mean, this is just absolutely insane. And then I've got another product. It's a GE. It's not even a year old. I think it might be 6 or 7 months old. It's a GE washer. And, I had another unit in there that had lasted years. It's been in there for over 10 years. And then, something happened. I'm like, oh, I'll just replace it with a new one. And I got the GE because I thought it was a nice brand. And, it's a top load washer. It's nothing fancy. And then the renters are complaining, God, it just stinks. There's an odor of mildew. There's got to be a leak in here somewhere. So we run through all the troubleshooting. We run bleach through it, run vinegar through it, run all the cycle loads that they're talking about. Nothing's cleaning this out. It just still stinks. So I break down and I call them. So I had 2 appliance repairs today. And, that's totaling a little over $500. And this is just insane. So what it turns out is, you got to run this cycle because these pumps aren't big enough to actually pump water through and remove all the soap residue. So the soap residue stays in there and starts growing mold and mildew on it because they're not pushing enough water through. And then so you have to run like 4 or 5 of these major loads without any clothes in there or any soap in there, with baking soda, vinegar, or bleach, a mixture to push that soap through. And then GE Repairman says, well, it's the seventh generation soap that the renter's buying from Target that's causing this. I'm like, that shouldn't matter. I mean, just pump enough water through. It's like just absolute garbage. And it's not just this company. I mean, it's all of them. I haven't had any luck with any of them. I mean, I swear to God, these boardrooms just sit around and they come up with ideas on how to have their products fail so they can sell more products more often. And it just, I don't know what to do. You got to build it into the rent, or you got to, run a separate rent charge for appliances, and just full disclosure. Hey, these appliances are garbage. It's going to cost you extra per month to get the nicer appliance. Or, we can go find some used ones, the old analog dial. Maybe they're going to be, the 1970s Harvest Gold or Avocado Green, but at least they're going to work. That's, get the old 1950s fridge that I got in one of the basements of a rental that still works. I mean, that thing's bulletproof. So, and it's not just the appliances either. It's everything these companies are making are garbage. So the other thing that failed today on another unit is smoke detector. The battery's chirping. Well, I'm like, duh, stupid renter. It's not a ceiling bird chirping. You need new batteries in that smoke detector. And it's like, he goes, that's not it. I replaced the batteries. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I replaced it 3 times thinking it was a bad battery. So we look at it, and sure enough, the battery's fine. I put in a new battery, and the same thing. It's the smoke detector's not even a year old, and that failed. And then that happened when I turned over another unit recently, and I thought I just got to run a bad batch. And this is a name brand smoke detector, battery operated. And I put them in all the bedrooms, and they all didn't work. They all started chirping with brand new batteries in there, and I couldn't figure it out. So I went and I bought more, and I think I got like 5 more, and like 2 of those were chirping. Then I had to go get 2 more to replace those. So I'm like, wow, that was weird. And I let the building inspector know that at the city that I ran across a bunch of bad batch. So maybe it was just a poor run, but no, this seems to be consistent. Even you can't rely on these smoke detectors. They're just garbage. It's really frustrating, to spend all this time and money trying to provide a good product, a good place for people to live, and you invest good money. You're putting in $4,000 or $5,000 into appliances, and they die after 2 years. I've got a house. He's been in there a year and a half. I totally remodeled it, and every appliance has been replaced now except the microwave. Microwaves, for some reason, seem to last forever. Everything else, I mean, that I didn't even get 2 years out of those appliances at that one house, just over a year. And then, another one, I replaced half of those appliances within 3 years. It's just garbage, garbage, garbage. And hopefully they start getting better and start producing better stuff. But it's an expense that's just bleeding me dry. If I'm repairing them, I'm spending a fortune on repairing. I got $500 into appliance repair today, and that's halfway to replacing one of the appliances. So it's almost cheaper to throw them away. But it's just, I'm getting pretty good at fixing them myself. I can troubleshoot it, and if I can get the parts, I can swap out parts, and I can keep most of that stuff lumbering along. But these were 2 I could not figure out. I spent a lot of time. Yeah, I didn't even count my hours in there trying to diagnose these problems. So it's a waste of energy. If I could find a decent appliance, I'd buy it and spend the extra money so I didn't have the headache. Then the renters wouldn't have the headache of having these problem appliances. I mean, the renters weren't doing anything wrong. They don't, they're buying soap and they're expecting the washer to work. I mean, they're not abusing it. So it's not fair to them. It's not fair to the owner. The only ones making out like a bandit are the CEOs and the board executives. I don't think any of the manufacturer, the workers are getting any of that cut on all these profits of replacing appliances. And I don't think the repairmen are even enjoyable too, because I called bullshit when he told me that it's an RFID chip, and he shook his head and he goes, yeah, it is. And he goes, but that's just what they're doing right now. And he didn't agree with it. but he's stuck in the industry, like everyone else. It's just a couple of assholes at the top are screwing it up for everyone. So that's my rant for today. I'll open it up. I see we got Thinking Time from Chicago. How are you doing? Oh, Aaron Clary is also live. Shoot. Thought I could top his rant. No, he's better at ranting than I am. Yes, you are right. Speed Queens are everything I've heard about them have been good, but as far as I know, they only make washer and dryers. So I don't think I can get a Speed Queen refrigerator or kitchen appliances. I've got a friend that's investing into rentals. He's going to be remodeling one. He's closing on one here next week, and he's finding some relatively good ones used on Marketplace and sends me the link. I'm going to start picking those up just so I have an inventory of reliable appliances. I've got a building. I've got 4 dead appliances in there that aren't very old. I need to take the time and replace a couple parts in them. So I didn't throw those out. I was going to order the parts and repair those, but I bought new ones to swap out so the renter wasn't down while we waited for parts to be shipped in. But now I'm collecting dead appliances, and that's taken up valuable real estate too. So yeah, just the typical frustrations. The renters have been good. I don't have problems with the people. I have problems with the manufacturers. I have problems with these executives at these large corporations that are squeaking out profits and making their products so damn cheap they don't last. But the renters have been good. I haven't had any problems lately. I get frustrated, but it's not really them abusing it. It's just I get frustrated with, when things break. I got another renter, she's bringing in a dog, notified me. Okay. Can't do anything about it. Right. And I don't mind pets, and she's like, yeah, it's an emotional support dog for my daughter. I'm like, okay. I can't refuse that. That's protected in the state here. So, even if I set pet rules in, I can't really impose too much of them. And it's fine. It's one of those things. But that's the hardest part of being a property owner right now is dealing with the stupid appliances. If I were to recommend anyone getting into this business, I would say take certifications on appliance repair and just be good at that. You'll save a ton of money. That's the number one thing that keeps going down is these appliances. And it's not the renters causing the problems. It's just they're building absolute crap. And now they've got computer software in them that have to be upgraded. And I'm not buying fancy ones. I'm not buying anything that's going to connect to the internet and tell me I'm out of groceries or anything like that. I'm not telling it to turn on the oven so I can run my favorite recipe. I mean, they've got those appliances. I'm just buying basic appliances. I mean, and it's absolutely frustrating. So that was my rant for today. I thought I'd jump on and do that. I had to let myself cool down after he told me they had RFID chips in the damn water filters, or the appliance will shut it off if you don't buy their name brand water filter. So that's all I got. Hope everything's going well. And if you got any questions, shoot me a message. Have a good night.